Nutrition Meal Planning by Sadie Laster. We're going to be going over nutrition basics, meal planning, and cooking. Here's the basic things you want to be including in your diet and some things we're going to go over. Calories are the basic unit of energy present in all food. Generally, the number of calories an adult needs ranges from anywhere from 1,600 to 3,000. When considering how much calories you need, consider your stuff like age, height, weight, body size, and how much exercise you're doing. If you want to lose weight, eat in a calorie deficit, which is eating less calories than you burn. If you want to gain weight, eat in a calorie surplus, eating more calories than you burn. Protein. Protein is the building block of life. It makes up every cell in our body. You want to aim for about 10 to 35% of your calories coming from protein, or about 15 to 30 grams of protein each meal. Some protein options are soybeans, nuts, seeds, beans, lentils, or stuff like chicken, turkey, fish, and egg whites for some healthy options. Carbs are sugars, starches, and fibers that your body breaks down for energy. You want to be looking to have about 45 to 65 of your total daily calories be made up of carbs, or about 225 to 325 grams a day. Some examples of this are sweet potatoes, butternut squash, oats, fruits, beans, stuff like whole wheat pasta, brown rice, or whole wheat bread are good options as well. Fats. Fats help to build cell membranes, nerve tissues, hormones, and function as fuel. There are two kinds of fats, mainly unsaturated fats and saturated fats. We want to kind of avoid saturated fats because they can raise your cholesterol. These fats are stuff like meat, butter, lard, cheese, or cream. As well, trans fats are even worse. They really raise your bad cholesterol and lower your good cholesterol. We want to have less than 1% of our daily calories be made up of these. This is mainly stuff like hydrogenated vegetable oil and isn't stuff like fried food. Now, we want to be looking for unsaturated fats, especially monosaturated fats. They help reduce your risk of heart disease by lowering your cholesterol level and can decrease inflammation. Monosaturated fats are stuff like olive oil, canola oil, avocados, and they should make up about 15 to 20% of your calories daily. Polyunsaturated fats can help lower your bad cholesterol. The two main types are omega-3 and omega-6, which cannot be made in the body, so we need to include them in our diet, stuff like corn oil, sunflower oil, or different nuts or fish. They should make up about 5 to 10% of your total calories. And we want to have water. People should be drinking a lot more water because it can help to reduce cravings, get rid of waste, and dissolve minerals and nutrients. We want to aim to drinking about 13 cups of water daily for men or 9 cups daily for women. Vitamins and minerals we should be getting in our diet naturally by just eating good stuff. We just to make sure to target especially vitamin A, B, C, D, E, and K, as well as calcium, iron, and zinc. Talk with your doctor before taking any supplements. Foods that are good with vitamins are stuff like leafy green vegetables, orange and yellow veggies, stuff like carrots, sweet potatoes, kale, bell peppers, beef liver, milk, Brussels sprouts, eggs, and fresh fruits like bananas and oranges, and nuts and fish. For your balanced diet, we're now using My Plate instead of the food pyramid, so this should be about 50% of your plate should be fruits and vegetables, 25% should be protein-rich foods, and 25% should be whole grain carbs. Anything to be eaten in moderation. But make sure to include the stuff like I said earlier. Try to avoid saturated fats, trans fats, sodium, added sugar, processed foods. Limit your red meat and cheese, and avoid bacon, cold cuts, and processed meats. Remember, any food isn't necessarily bad for you. Any food can be eaten in moderation. Just make sure you're primarily eating good food that is healthy. Also, try to be mindful of what you're eating. By being aware of when you're hungry and full can help you not to over or undereat. Meal planning. Many adults eat way too much sugar or sodium in America especially, and a lot of adults think they're getting enough vegetables and fruit, but only 12% of Americans get enough fruit and only 10% get enough vegetables. That's why meal planning can help. Meal planning helps save you money because you know what you're buying exactly. You can budget, and there's less impulse purchases. You can promote variety in your recipes by researching more. It helps save you time. You're more organized. You reduce your stress because you don't make as many last-minute decisions. It helps you with weight control. It helps you contribute to a more nutritionally balanced diet because you can plan exactly how much fiber or protein each meal will have. It can minimize food waste because you're buying only what you need for that meal. It promotes mindful eating and emotional wellness, and is linked with weight loss and obesity prevention. Now, some cons is more time is used up on one certain day rather than spreading it out. It requires consistency and discipline. It limits spontaneity. There's a lack of flexibility, potential for waste if plans change, and a learning curve. However, a lot of these can be prevented if you plan out a little more, like your time can be used up more spread out if you plan, and if you can be more flexible with your meal plans if you're not so hard on yourself. That's some of the tips, especially when you begin. Start small, only plan a few meals a week. Keep it simple, don't plan these extravagant meals. Theme nights can help it keep exciting, especially if you have a family. Use apps like Mealime, those are useful meal planning apps. Plan for leftovers, account for those, and don't just consider that you'll eat it all in one meal if you know your behavior. Be flexible. Like I said earlier, it's really important to not just, don't consider that the plans might change, which also goes into the next one. Stock up on useful foods like pasta or rice, and that can help you make more foods if you need to change plans. And evaluate and adjust. After every week, go back and see what you're doing wrong or what you're doing right, and then adjust from there. So how to do it exactly, you want to prepare, which is just having recipe ideas or food shopping lists and a calendar with your ideas. Look for meals that are recipes that are nutritionally healthy and well balanced. This is not actually planning, this is just beginning to plan, which you can do throughout the week and not really spend much time on it. Next, actually planning. You typically want to do this one day a week on the same day every week, and you plan your actual menu. You can plan to food shop or actually food shop, and then you can meal prep and do most of your cooking. Try to have breaks in between your task days. That can make it a little easier on you. And you can either cook all your meals in one day or just do majority of the prep work in the beginning to make your meals easier. It's up to you. It's very flexible meal planning, so it's really whatever fits the person. Shopping is next. Be sure to read labels for the food you buy. Don't forget a lot of them can be a bit misleading, so account for serving size and don't just look at the outright calories. Make sure to try to look for options that include the ratios of proteins, lipids, carbs, and sugars and stuff you need to have a balanced diet. Next comes cooking. Focus on the cooking that takes the longest efforts, like protein and grains. If you don't even if you don't pre-cook proteins, you can marinate them ahead of time to make it easier to cook later. This is useful because then you're going to just have it easy and ready to go, which can, like I said, can save you time. And finally, storage. You can set aside your prepared meal ingredients or your already cooked food, and you can freeze extra meals or ingredients. Rotate your freezer to keep the oldest food up front, and yeah. So meal planning is really useful because you can see exactly how much protein or iron you're getting. This is an example of a meal for one day, every meal. For example, breakfast has Greek yogurt and fruits and nuts, and it shows that they're getting enough protein, calcium, and fiber. The next page is even better. On the left is an example of your shopping list going with your meals, but on the right is the best example. It shows each ingredient for each meal of the day and how much calories, fat, carbs, and fiber and protein. This is what your kind of meal plan should look like a little bit. And on to healthy cooking. We really want to cook for meal plans because there's a lot of benefits, because we don't know what's going into our dishes if we take out food or restaurant food. Pre-made foods can be made with a lot of sodium and processed fats, and cooking allows yourself to portion control, cook in bulk, use more leftovers, make your favorite meals, all while remaining pretty healthy. So meal planning and cooking go hand in hand. So fast food, a lot of people are tempted to eat that or even take out food, but it's generally higher in calories, total fats, saturated fats, and sodium. Like this meal from McDonald's, the Big Mac and large fries, they contain enriched flour, which has very little nutrients, high fructose corn syrup, which increases your risk of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and hydrogenated soybean oil, which is a trans fat and harms your heart health. So generally, it's a lot of calories as well, almost about 1,000. So you're going to be eating a bunch of calories in one meal and not getting much nutritional value from it. Some general tips for cooking is you want to avoid deep frying food. This can be linked to cancer. Reduce your salt. It's linked to heart disease. And avoid using margarine. There's a lot of additives in there. You want to try to cook with as many raw, basic materials as you can. The more processed foods you buy, the more they might have unnecessary ingredients or unhealthy fats. Using a food scale is super helpful. You can see exactly how many ounces you're doing, which can help you if you're using a nutrition tracking app. As well, it can help you know what you need for a specific recipe if it just says stuff in grams. You can try to boil and steam your food. This is a better way to cook it than frying it because it keeps the health in there and doesn't lead to cancer. So here's some unhealthy ingredients that are commonly used, especially in food and takeout, and some foods that sound healthy. So some commonly unhealthy ingredients are high fructose corn syrup, stuff like BHA or hydrogenated oil or palm oil. So we want to be looking at ingredient lists and avoiding these. Some foods that sound healthy but really aren't are stuff like sweetened yogurt, bran muffins, puffed veggie sticks, plant-based milks, or stuff like granola bars or dried fruit. These have lots of problems. Usually there are a lot of calories and a lot of sugar and lots of sodium, and they don't have a lot of nutritional value. They sound healthy, so people fall into the trap of eating them when they really aren't. Some healthy switches you might want to consider are making sure your bread has whole wheat as the first ingredient, using lettuce as your bread, using vegetable pasta noodles, or stuff like using corn or cauliflower tortillas instead of flour tortillas. For snacks, we'll look for nuts, seeds, nut butter, hummus, olives, and dried fruit, and try to combine fruits and vegetables with protein to stay full for longer. Some tools you can use are stuff like MyFitnessPal, Nutritionist Tracker, or LifeSum to track the calories you're eating after or before when you're meal planning. You can use cooking recipe things like Yumly or Supercook, or meal planning apps like Mealime or Paprika, or even ChatGPT, and meal delivery services like HelloFresh or Sunbasket. The ones with stars on them do cost money, and meal delivery services can have some of the same problems as takeout, so be careful, but some people don't have time. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.